makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Jesica Chavez. She is the founder of the Latina Success. From defying norms to becoming an engineer, to driving customer success in robotics, and founding the Latina Success, Jesica's journey showcases the power of diversity and determination. Tune in as she shares insight on empowerment, diversity, and her mission to uplift the Hispanic community. Thank you, Jesica, for the chance to have this conversation with you this morning. So can you share with us your journey from growing up in Mexico with an entrepreneurial influence to become the founder of the Latina Success?
Yes, thank you for having me here. Yes, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My dad was always having different businesses, my brother as well. So I was able to see, for firsthand how it was to start a business, but also to fail. I have to say my parents failed many times, but I think also that is a great lesson, right? You learn that failure, it doesn't mean like things are not going to get better or things are just ruined forever. And he was always very resilient and very always happy to learn and coming with different ideas. Of course, there were moments of loud, depression. I have to say, I see my father having depression, of course. But then, after a couple of days, okay, what about if we do this? And always trying different things. And that was something that I always love and enjoy about my father. And then I am the youngest, so my brother is 8 years older. And always my brother also, when he was like around 15, started with crazy ideas as a teenager. And start trying different things. One year, I remember he was 20 something, but he started 4 businesses at the same time because he said, I want to see which one is successful. And
Wow.
It was so crazy. Things that he has never done before. He partnered with different people from different backgrounds. It was very interesting to see. He is very creative. He is a designer, so he's super creative, and everything that he comes up with idea of how to be doing the logo, what social media use, whatever. He was always like super about that. Anyways, so I always was part of that family. And then I moved here to the United States. And after having my own business in Mexico, it was starting from zero. I was like, oh man, I don't have a job. I don't have anything to do here. I came here as a spouse of a student. So in that way, you don't have easy access to work. I was lucky to be Mexican because we have a partnership here with the United States that some certain career you can apply for a visa to allow you to work, but still you need a sponsorship company that really believe in you. So at that time, I called my former boss in Mexico and I say, let's start, doing a service remote for your clients. And he was like, oh no, my clients, they don't understand service remote. I don't think it's going to be easy, but if you want to give it a try, I'm going to give you the chance because I like to be working with you. And actually, I ended up building the remote department for that company, bringing people who has disability conditions being able to be working because they didn't have to be visiting clients on sites. So it was very nice to be part of that because I was able to provide jobs for other kind of people that otherwise, at least in Mexico, at that time when I started that part, remote work was not a topic at all. So it was a lot of challenges because people didn't really understand that culture. And then finally, I was offered a position here in the United States, and I started working from the ground in that startup and then helping another startups and keep going. But every time I was talking with my friends in Mexico, they really didn't understand much what I was doing, how I entered in the startup world, how I transferred my skills from being an engineer to be now more a client facing role and be working with customers. Um, so that also always was on me the idea, how can I help other people to understand my path? How can I provide also to my community about what I did, how I did it? Um, and I always like to listen podcasts and keep learning. And one day I was asking for a podcast in Spanish about the topics I am interested about. And they were like, oh, no, I haven't found any in Spanish. Good luck with that. And then another person was like, hey, I know you have plenty of experience. Why don't you start your own? And it was something like, oh, how can I start my own, right? Um, and then people start asking me for, hey, you have done this, why you don't provide this service? And I'm also pursuing my MBA, and a lot of students have reached out to me asking me for help and help to defining their business plans and so on. Um, so it was kind of everything was setting together, when say the world is just asking you for something, that I start with this idea, first of all, providing this service for the Hispanic communities and Hispanic startups, people, sharing my experience in the world in the United States. But then second, it has been growing for companies here in the United States that they are in a very early stage in the pre-seed or seed stage, where they are like, I would like to understand how can I be successful and be ready for the go-to-market. And it's how Latina Success started. And it has been very nice. The community, it has been amazing with me. So that's how I started here.
You have a lot of people that just been influenced you your entire life, pretty much, I have to say. And it was
Correct.
amazing how your brother started four companies at the same time. I love his idea. I never thought of it. If I fail one, at least I still have three more to go. That
Exactly.
was
Yes.
amazing of him. But it's kind of like Shirley, a great thing as well. I was raised in the same kind of way. My mom, my grandpa, my grandmothers, everyone was into business. So listening to you talking about it's kind of like I've been there. I know how it feels. Like you're watching them failing, you're watching them crying, you're watching them laughing, you're watching them smiling with the clients. And at the end, really, the only thing you can take away is when you create something that is yours, and it's the most amazing thing. It's good to work for other people. I'm not saying that. But when it's yours, even if you stay up until 3 in the morning working on it, at least you're devoting that time to something that's belonged to you. And you're going to pass it on to your children or to your next part of your family. So I love it. And that's pretty much my life as well. That's the reason why I was very interesting to know the story behind it.
Yes, it's interesting. And I have seen that it's a pattern, in many of the entrepreneurs that I have been able to know during this career of mine. Some of them have been always influenced by, the grandparents or the parents or somebody close by them. And I think, again, I have been in a school. I love going into school, but there is no classes that are going to teach you that more than really seeing it in front line.
Exactly. So you have to try it and you have to fail. And you know what? A lot of people always say that failure is the worst thing. For me, I looked at it, failures are the best thing that can happen in my life because I got to learn so many things that I couldn't learn any other way. I had to fail it to see it. And even when I seen other people failing, I still didn't learn anything from somebody else's failures, but I learned a lot from my own. So I think failures is something people should look at it not in a bad way, but also in a good way, that there's something good you can learn from it, you can take away from it.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people is always afraid of that, right? Like, oh, what about if somebody like my product? What about if nobody give me a like in what I'm talking about, right? I remember, especially when I started with my podcast also, I remember one lady told me, like, asked me, how did you start thinking about the topic you're going to be talking about. What is your process about that? And it's like, it was funny because for me, it's like, well, I think about when I was in that position, right, of as a new person in this market, what I would like to know, right? Who can help me to understand how this works? So I think always as that person that I was before knowing all this experience and say, okay, I wish I knew this. I wish when I made this mistake, somebody told me this is the correct way, right? So it's the way I always think, like, how can I help with my failure?
Exactly. I loved it. I never really look at it this way, but you're right. So now, as the first woman in your family to obtain an engineering degree, what motivated you to pursue a field that was pretty much male dominated, despite the doubts from your family?
Yes, that's a very funny question too. When I finished high school, I want to be everything. I always like everything, and I have to be honest, I was good at everything. So I hear from teachers, you should be accountant, you should be a lawyer, you should be doing this, that. So what I ended up doing is I take a year break. I say, I think I need to really find out what I want to be, and not only what I want to be, what really is going to be adding value later in my life. And in Mexico, opportunities are very difficult, right? So a lot of percentage of people ended up not applying their roles and ended up using random positions that never apply what they went for in college. So I did during a year really study of where there were careers that they were most paid, that they have more jobs, that it was easy to jump, easy to grow. And I always comparing salaries and all that and trying to interview people as well, like especially the careers that I like it a little more. But being an engineer, even though I was good at math, it was always that afraid of, oh, it's just male dominant. It's just for people who is super smart at math, who is always just in a manufacturing company or developing high products, so on. And I had the pleasure to meet a good friend who was like, oh, no, 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 it's nothing like that. And explained me and walked me through the whole world of industrial engineer. And actually, he was working on his thesis. And it was like, okay, I went to him, helped him a little bit just to understand where he was coming from. And it's when I fell in love and I said, I want to be this because I know it's going to open me doors for many other opportunities. And yes, it was hard at the beginning because everybody was like, you're crazy, right? And that's not for women. And even I remember professors like asking me at the beginning, are you sure you want to do this? Sometimes even people kind of joking saying, oh, marketing classes are in the other building and you should go and check out and things
Oh my
like that.
goodness. That's funny.
Yes. But at the end, I think I demonstrate to everyone that what was I capable of. I always was getting, an interesting feedback because at the end it was like professors like, oh, I never thought you would become this person. Or I never thought you will knew about this and so on. But it was very fun.
But I'm happy to say that you stay with it because a lot of women hearing all these things, they probably will start doubting themselves. Like maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I will go nowhere with it. But you did it. You stuck with it. You're like, I made my decision. I don't care what you guys got to say. I appreciate all the great advice. Really, truly, I am. But I'm staying with it regardless.
Correct. Yes.
But now years pass. So you have like a diverse career journey, including working with startup, like you said earlier, transitioning into the robotic industry. So how did your background in engineering influence your approach to customer success strategies?
So what happened is, again, my background in engineering, and I consider myself very tech savvy, helped me very easily to go to the client and help them adapt technology in easier way, right? Not be talking very engineering way for them, not talking in a very technical way. It was more like, really, I'm here to help you to adopt this. But also it was very easily also to come back with the engineering team and make sure they understand the client from the technical perspective. So it was very easy for me to be going back and forth between these two languages because it's so different, right? And engineers, especially when they are developing, they sometimes it's like very high technical and they are expecting to create something amazing, but sometimes that amazing includes very complicated process. So it's trying to say, this is the persona we are serving. I know your idea sounds amazing, but how can we make this easier and faster? So coming from that world make it easier for me. And this is why also when I was working in the robotics industry, it was very easily to understand the technical side and then go and talk with my clients, in a level that how can robotics drive your business, right? How can you improve your ROI? How can you increase, your production or whatever it was the robotics for. So that was very good to be in both sides because I feel that I have never really left my engineering side. Again, I don't feel that my engineering was just pushed away. I think actually has been serving for a better purpose.
Exactly. You use it to create something even better.
Yep.
So now moving to a foreign land, dealing with divorce and expensive personal laws are huge challenges. So how did you manage to overcome this hardship and continue to build your career and life in the face of adversity?
Well, I mean, definitely always is hard, but I would say there were a couple of things. First of all, again, my family has been always very supportive. And again, this was probably not a professional failure, right? But it was a personal life where you feel that is failure. And without, I think, being having the experience with my parents and my family, see how they see the failure, I don't think I will be able to go through all what I have been going through. Second of all, I would say I have very good friends, that they were always there for me. And the third one, and I think this is one of also the most important, is taking care of my mental health care. A lot of people, it's like, oh no, therapy is not for me, or I don't want to go and do therapy, right? I'm afraid to tell about my problems. So I think that was also one of the things that really helped me to go through all this. I have lost in total 4 babies, and it is very hard to going through losing a baby. And then sometimes it's like, should I tell my boss, right? And sometimes I was working full time and it was very hard situation. The divorce was super hard moment for me because I was dealing with losing a baby and getting divorced and trying to decide what I want to do, having a daughter who is 7 years old. And it was like, okay, now what, right? And just start doubting a little bit about yourself. Like, I am doing the right thing with my career. Should I move? Right? There are many pieces that you have to think about it. And it's like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, right? For myself, for my career, for my daughter. But I think, again, a lot of pieces were falling together very interesting, which also I would say I believe in God. And I think God was putting everything in front of me and it was just being always open, open for ideas, which I think a lot of people is not. And I think always I have been very open to try new things. And that was what helped me to get through. And try to be optimist, like say, again, it's failure, right? What can I learn from this part of my life? What can I do? That also even helped me to push create Latina Success because it was like probably with my experience, my professional experience, I can help another woman to feel like, I would like to do that and grow my career, being able, to do something in this space. again, going through divorce, I found a lot of women that they have never had a professional career. They were always a stay at mom, mom stay at home, or just pause their careers. And once they are, in this process, they say, what I'm going to do? How can I launch a role? How can I get a good salary? Because now I am my own. And I was like, if, my experience can help, those women who has been going through this, I will be more than happy. And I always, as I always try to mentor in some women in getting, the first job or jumping into customer success roles, I'm always happy to chat with them. And if it's, any connection that I can find in a job, I'm happily to do it.
And I think that what you are doing is right, and what you thought also was right, because when you share your story, you kind of give them courage to step out of the comfort zone and do something as well. So now, what motivated you to launch the Latina Success?
So I think, again, having no enough content about this entrepreneurship and customer success topics in Spanish, I think, again, I feel the community needs to learn more from somebody who has been in this experience. And also, again, if I can help somebody, not only to launch their own business, but also to launch their career, I think, again, it's easy to replicate that network and say, oh, we are creating jobs, right? Because that people is like, okay, and now I need to go into this stage of going to the market with my product. So I need this kind of people to help me through. And that is an opening of new jobs and opportunities there. And in Latin America, there is still very not enough information about how people here in the United States or other countries are doing it. And we have a lot of talent in Latin America, huge pool of talent, which I'm pretty sure if they start learning more about these topics, about more these experiences, they are able to create amazing companies.
So, how does the platform empower the Hispanic community with knowledge and customer success and beyond?
So we share a lot of resources. So we also do consulting services for companies. We also I mentor people, and we have a podcast as well. The podcast gives them a little about the idea of who we are, because I'm also joining with another two amazing women that are helping me adding more content, adding more resources to the community. We share tips, right? Again, we try to create also a community of sharing jobs. What are these companies looking for, and how we can match these people to these companies.
But is anyone can join the community?
Yes, absolutely.
And does it charge into the community? How does it actually work? And also, when you talk about the community, is it like a platform, almost like we're talking about more like a Facebook kind of way where they log in, they can network in, or is it focused more into the mentorship part of it?
It is more into the mentorship. And it's not like charge at all. They usually reach out to us directly, right? Like, hey, I'm looking for this in my company. I would like your help to start developing my customer success strategy. And then also I get people who say, I'm looking to launch my role in customer success. I would like some mentoring, or even people who are already in the field, but they are stuck in like, we are in a stage of being scaling the team and I don't know what else to do, or I am stuck in our onboarding process. We have been using this onboarding process, but we haven't been able to track KPIs, so we haven't been able to really see success for the onboarding process. So we go and analyze those processes, and we have, a series of templates and frameworks that we have been using in the past. Of course, each company is totally different, right? So you cannot apply the same from robotics industry from a platform that is for billing. So it's also understand what are the clients, what are the internal process, and we help to optimize that.
I like that. So also, you focus in small businesses, or Also, do you go to the corporate world? It's just from small businesses to individual.
Yes, it's more for small businesses. They are always, again, struggling, especially as they grow, right? They are always like, oh, I'm getting money finally, right? I'm getting this all number of accounts or all this number of clients. How can I keep the level of the customer experience they were having at the beginning? How can I have my team prepare for these difficult conversations, right? How can I keep this company be growing the revenue from the current clients instead of chasing new ones and now keeping just my clients. So it's more about small companies who has these challenges. And I mean, happy to help any company, right? But it's my expertise.
Yeah, but I also that small businesses need the help the most, and the guidance, the support, and your experience, especially come from a business world that you are raised into, where it's in your blood pretty much. So that's something that you can guide small businesses a lot with it. We have as small businesses, we have a bigger chance of failing within 6 years compared to corporation that's already been there for many years.
Correct. Yeah.
So now, for individuals facing obstacle in their careers, especially those from underrepresented background, what advice would you give them based on your own journey?
So first of all is confidence. Be always having confidence. Having doubts about your career is really gonna be reflecting in some way or another. So you have to know that your experience, your knowledge is as valuable as anyone else, right? I know there are some companies that totally, I would say probably they can discriminate, right? Or they cannot value people from different backgrounds or cultures. But definitely there are companies that they do. And I have been working with multicultural companies, and I always see how amazing is working in a team that is people from different culture, because they bring a lot of value and innovation. So always think like what you have is going to be adding a value from your culture perspective, from your ideas. It's not always the same. And the second is always keep learning and networking. Networking is a big part right now of the market. So if you really want to keep growing, keep networking, keep learning from others, keep connecting, keep asking questions to others. How did you get here, right? Especially the ones who are just starting their careers, is try to follow people and try to connect with them. I know a lot of people say yes to jump on a call with you or to chat with you a couple minutes. But I mean, still we are some that we care for the people. So just keep knocking doors and probably somebody will say, yes, I'm going to sit with you and let's chat and understand where are you coming from? How can you get here? I can share my experience, right? And if I know someone, I can totally introduce you to.
So, where can people go to listen to your podcast?
So we have our podcast in Spotify.
Okay.
We are already in the third episode so far. It has been very nice because we have, I mean, again, when you launch it, it's like, let's see what happened, who listened to it, what is the feedback. And yes, it has been amazing. I have received messages from people that I never thought I will. And it was like, okay, fine, right? It's like, oh, wow. Yeah.
How can people reach out to you?
So you can send me an email. I have an email at Jesica with one S, Jesica at theLatinaSuccess.com. So I have that email and I'm always open. Also in my LinkedIn, I'm like Jesica Chavez. A lot of people reach out to me to LinkedIn. And I'm always trying to be very open and reachable, share my experience.
You know, listening to you talking, your journey being truly inspiring. And like your dedication to empowering others is also very, how do I say that, worthy. To be able to say, I'm going to support others, because it's not something, even other people, sometimes they say they are doing it, but that's not truly what they stand for. So when I meet other women that stand for what I stand for, for me, it's the best ever. Especially, I started WOMEL to support other women, and that's what we have been doing for the past 6 years. So thank you for sharing your story with us. And is there anything else you'd like to add, or any message you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yes, no, well, I just say I think women just can't help and empower another woman. And always, if you are creating a successful project and are able to support another woman who are just starting their careers, I will, just say, please help as much as you can. You will see, especially when a woman is just starting their career, eager to learn and do, you will see how much amazing things a woman can do.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jesica, for giving me the chance to have this conversation with you. And I enjoy talking to you, learning more about your background. And also, I love your brother, what he did. Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.